Are you guys ready to win? Okay, so I was just in Washington, so I'm not going to do any chants, okay? Not in a chant mood. And I will say that there is no place like home. And for all of you, I will say welcome to Minneapolis, the home of the Lynx. So, John is here with me, a big Lynx fan. I know Mayor Fry is here, right over here. Kelly Morrison, the great congresswoman from the 3rd District. I know Lieutenant Governor Flanagan was with us. I know that Keith Ellison is on his way. And I also know there's legislators out there. We thank you, other local leaders. And then, of course, the great Julie Blaha is here. And I don't know, anyone that replaces Julie Blaha has to be good at crop art, okay? And I will note, Julie was doing crop art before it was cool, and now it is in museums across the world. It has reached a higher art. So I think we all know why we are here. We are here for the great Tim Walz. We are here because he has the backs of the people of this state, because he delivered paid leave and free school lunches to Minnesota. We know he balanced the state budget with a narrowly divided legislature. That's putting it mildly. And we know that he just earned our state, with all our businesses, all our workers, all of you, a AAA bond rating. Yeah, by the way, only 11 states has a AAA bond rating. Why do I know this? The governor told me out in the hall. So we are truly a state where the women are strong. The men are good looking. And all the bond ratings are above average. So we know that Tim has led us through times of crisis, through all of this chaos and cruelty that we are seeing in Washington. But he always keeps his spirit about him. He always has that look that I'll never forget when he was first running, and I think it was the Wall Street Journal just defined him as a burly high school teacher from Mankato, Minnesota. He has never lost that, because we know what's happening right now. We know the onslaught of the attacks of our democracy from this Trump administration. And by the way, you know things are getting bad when Ted Cruz attacks the FCC for going after Jimmy Kimmel. That just happened today. Okay, one of my goals of today was to get a cheer for Ted Cruz. It seems to have worked. So here's the deal. So Donald Trump said that he would lower costs from day one, right? That's what he told us. That's why some people in our state, I know, they voted for me, they voted for him, because they believed this. They believed he was going to do it. And instead, costs are up, chaos is up, and corruption is up. And that is not what Minnesota bought into. So, but through it all, with that kind of stuff going on, you need a strong leader. You need someone that doesn't buckle, that looks out for this state. And that's what Tim Walz does. The small businesses and farmers that have been decimated by these tariff taxes, Tim Walz is going to stand up for them. The families who are rightfully worried about their health care and their premiums, Tim Walz and Democrats are going to stand up for them. The scientists who are just trying to do their work and find a cure for cancer, and they get these cuts coming out of Washington, D.C., Tim Walz is going to stand up for them. The women who in other states are worried they're going to miscarry and they were in a parking lot bleeding out, that's not happening in Minnesota because of Tim Walz. the moms and dads who just want a place that's safe for their kids for childcare, and all we're getting out of Donald Trump is tax cuts for the rich. Tim Walz is going to stand up for them. So are you ready to fight for Tim Walz? This is one of the hardest times we've had in our politics. I don't have to tell Minnesota that right now, but here's what I've seen from Tim and Gwen. Here's what I saw when our state needed leadership after we lost our beloved Melissa Hortman and Mark, after John Hoffman, oh my God, was out door knocking last weekend with us, our state senator who came back as strong as can be, and Yvette were shot. Who was there for them and their families and our state? Tim and Gwen were there. They were there every step of the way. So in the middle of all this, when everyone's pointing fingers, sometimes you need someone who's just gonna be there. When those kids were shot in that church, and by the way, one of the most moving stories that Tim and I heard at one of the funerals, a funeral for Fletcher, was a friend of mine who'd actually worked for me. Her daughter was there and saw one of her best friends shot. And so I said, well, this was such a moving tribute to Fletcher. And she said, I know, but I just kept looking at the stained glass windows and thinking of the bullets. And that's when I realized I always pictured the windows weren't just regular windows. They were stained glass windows, something that for people of faith, they look at those windows, and for them that's calm, that's faith, and that's what that little kid sees right now. Well, Tim and Gwen were there for their families. They are there for their families, and they will be there for their families. That's what you want in a governor. So, I just refuse to believe that our politics is going to go down to the level that good people are not allowed to lead and rise up and bring people with them. That's what you've got in this governor. That's what we've got in Tim Walz. So let's go and make sure that he gets reelected. Minnesota. So there's kind of some famous people here. They might be from the Walz family. So there are two people here who know Tim better than just about anyone else. And that's the two people that get to call him Dad. So you know you have done well as a parent. I was just out there with them. When your kids are as proud of you as Gus and Hope are of Tim. Hope showed us that Tim isn't just brave enough to stand up to Donald Trump. He's brave enough to go on a slingshot at the state fair. That's what Hope gave us. And then we all remember Gus at the convention. Remember those words? That's my dad. Remember when Gus stood up in that middle of the speech and said what every kid feels when they're proud of their parent, when they have love in their family? He said, that's my dad. And no three words better describe our governor. Let's bring up Hope and Gus Walz.
Hello, Minnesota!
For those of you who don't know us, I'm Hope.
And I'm Gus. We have a very important message for you tonight. Don't worry, the Vikings will be fine and J.J. McCarthy will turn out. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Now that Gus has gotten that off his chest, we want to share with you a little bit about our kick-ass dad. Now, I'm sure many of you have seen him on TV wearing a suit and tie, giving a speech at the State House, hosting a big rally like this one, or being the weird obsession of everyone at Fox News.
But to us, he's always just been regular old dad. Less suit and tie and more the same gray sweatshirt he's had for 10 years and counting. He cleans the car, loves our dog Scout and kitty Honey, and we watch the Vikings with the volume way too loud. You won't be surprised to hear he tells a lot of jokes. And if you think dad jokes are bad, let me tell you about governor jokes.
Our dad is goofy, passionate, fiercely protective of the ones he loves, and always so excited to see us. I don't live with my parents anymore, but I never have to ask to come home. No matter where they might be, they always have a room with my name on it, warm food on the table, and a million questions about my life. How's work going? How are your friends doing? Have you gotten that dent out of your truck yet? I get that one 3 times a day at this point. And no matter how busy he gets, he always details and cleans my car and my cousin's cars. Really, anyone's car, you should ask him.
The thing about my dad is he shows up. He shows up for our family. He shows up for our state. My dad shows up for the people every single time. My dad knows what makes a good team, showing up for each other and caring about each other. Well, he truly believes we're one team here in Minnesota, and I know he'll always have your back.
I've never been more convinced that Gus and I are the luckiest kids in the entire world. And we've seen firsthand that our dad's big heart is his superpower. He loves this state and everyone in it, and that's why he pours everything he has into making Minnesota the best place on earth.
But if you ask me one of the reasons our state is so great, I'd probably say the Minnesota Gophers row the boat. But another reason is because we have a governor who cares, and he wants every kid who grows up here to have a childhood as great as me and my sister got. And let's hope that includes one Viking Super Bowl.
We love you, Mom and Dad.
Now please join us in welcoming to the stage
The 41st Governor of Minnesota,
and our dad,
Tim Walz.
Wow. Wow. Well, wow. Well, I got to tell you, I'm feeling pretty blessed tonight. How about Hope and Gus? Play, thanks, guys. And to Gwen, the light of my life, my best friend for so long, and I think everybody in this room knows the person who really makes this train run. Thank you, Gwen. Well, how are you folks doing tonight? We're back again, and I know you could be anywhere. It's a Friday night, almost early fall. Heck, you could even be at a Twins game. I know, not the greatest thing, but you chose to come here. Chose to come wait in line, come in the building here. Again, because you care. You care about our state, you care about our country, and you care about each other. That's what makes Minnesota. That's what this is about, and that's what makes Minnesota the greatest place on this planet. I'm always grateful to each and every one of you and to the state of Minnesota for giving a small-town boy, teacher, part-time soldier, a chance to serve as the governor of the greatest state in the union. Thank you all. I'll tell you what, lots of reasons to be thankful. One amongst them is, how blessed are we to have Amy Klobuchar as our senior senator? just such a force, and the caringness. And I have to tell you, it's the funniest senator too. Tell me that Ted Cruz joke wasn't funny. That was funny. So, good. And we got folks who are willing to put themselves out there to do the work for all of us. Richard Carlbaum and the folks at the DFL, thank you. Thank you for all you do. And to each and one of our elected officials I see across this room, and to their families. At this time in our history, I am so incredibly grateful that you are willing to serve as servant leaders to make life better, not for you and not your family, but for people you'll never meet across every corner of this state. Thank you to each and every one of you. Well, contrary to what Gus said, you might know why we're really here tonight. Because we've got unfinished business to attend to. And those of you who know me, no matter what it is, I'm not going to quit until the job's done. So I'm here tonight, folks, asking the people of Minnesota for the privilege of serving as your governor for 4 more years. Because here in Minnesota, we're writing a story about how to govern like good neighbors. We treat each other with respect. We always look to find common ground where we can. Just as important, everything we do is driven by the commitment to making life just a little bit better for all the people we serve. We recognize that all we want, and most people across the country, certainly across Minnesota, want the same basic things to make up a good life. They want security, a solid foundation that won't fall away if something goes wrong. We all want opportunity, chance to get ahead, and a chance for our kids to go even further. And maybe most of all, we all want freedom to live our own lives the way we want to. And with our partners in the legislature, I am damn proud of the progress we've made to build that good life right here in Minnesota. More kids in pre-K, fewer in poverty. More clean energy flowing through the grid, fewer roads and bridges at risk of failing. More families with dignified care for their loved ones. Fewer families without safe, secure housing. More jobs, better pay, and the strongest organized labor protections in the nation. And despite what the naysayers said that it couldn't be done, we passed a responsible budget through the most closely divided legislature in the entire country. And because we've governed with that courage, with ambition, with vision, we've built one of the friendliest states to start and grow a business, and one of the freest states to live your life how you choose. And the best place in the country to raise a child. Security, opportunity, and freedom. That's what you get out of life in Minnesota. And the truth is that I found out last fall is all America wants what we have right here. And we know, just like democracy, that work is a team effort. So give yourself a round of applause for making this happen. Now, that next chapter of Minnesota's history is yet to be written. We'll get to decide what it's going to say at the ballot box next November. And here's the thing, there's no guarantee that we continue down the path of growth and progress and neighborly goodwill. It's only month 8 of this nightmare in Washington. And I want to know is, and I've been asking this question, where are the don't tread on me people these days? You know them. In all seriousness, where are they? The ones who had made principled arguments about decrying cancel culture, demanding free speech, warning against us against government that's too big and too powerful. Well, you know, many of them, they only cared about that when Democrats were in charge of government. But I'm going to break it to them. They are getting tread on every single day. This monstrosity of an administration is cracking down on dissent on our college campuses, within our own government, and now even on television. These last few days, witnessing government and FCC canceling Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, and I said it, this is North Korea type crap that they're doing. It is the definition of censorship that you would find in your civics textbooks if they hadn't already scrubbed those textbooks. And we're at a point now, and you know it, and you have your neighbors knowing this. Whether they're a U.S. citizen or not, what they know is this president's personal police force can disappear you at a whim. That's where we're living. And I said, don't even get me started on RFK Jr. Actively keeping life-saving vaccines out of the reach of all of us. And then gaslighting it by calling it health reform and health freedom. So I know you're trying to square that circle. I'm trying to too. But I said this, at least his slogan is true. Maha. Measles are here again. They're here again. Which would be pretty funny if we didn't know what that could mean. Now, one thing Donald Trump did do is he identified that we do have a broken system in this country. He ran on a promise to bring down prices on day one for working people, and he hasn't done a damn thing about it since then. Eggs, chickens, pork, beef, you name it, all are up over 10%. But I keep saying this, you know, they said, well, you never, ever give the president credit for when he keeps his word on something. And I said, well, it's rare, but he did keep his word on something. He did bring something down. Tax rates for billionaires who golf with him. He's done that. He was doing that. He said those in power weren't responsive enough. So he stacked his cabinet with lobbyists and industry tycoons so they do the bidding of their corporate overlords. And he said we needed to root out government waste. So he did trim the fat. You know, things that we don't really need, like childhood cancer research, Medicaid for our parents, payments to keep rural hospitals open. And by the way, just as we stand here today on what they've done, 18 of our hospitals in Minnesota are at risk of closing their doors in greater Minnesota because of the big, beautiful bullshit bill that was passed. It has driven up premiums, and this year, healthcare premiums for all of us will be at a 15-year high. And no surprise whatsoever, all of our Republican representatives voted for it, proudly voted. Now, they proudly voted to make your health care more expensive, to put our rural hospitals at risk, and lower the quality of life for Minnesotans. And if they were proud enough about this, do a damn town hall, Tom Emmer. Get out there and listen to people. Do a town hall. Don't go on Fox News and gripe at me, because you had a chance to be governor and Minnesota said, hell no, hell no. But it's never been clearer to me, Trump had no intention of fixing the system for us. He just wanted to rig it for himself and his family. That's what he wanted to do. This guy's motivated, and he's very simple. He's motivated by two things, cruelty and corruption. He grifts off you, and then he savors the pain of the American public. And that approach to government, I wish it weren't true, is threatening to seep right into our state too. We got a bunch of Donald Trump wannabes that are trying to ask the people of Minnesota to make them governor of Minnesota, which they want to govern like it's Mar-a-Lago and not Minnesota. But here's what I'll promise you. I'll never stop fighting to protect this state that we love from the corruption, the cruelty, and no matter what lackey's peddling this, you know not a one of them is going to think for themselves. They will do whatever Trump wants, and Minnesota gets a chance to say, not in this state, not on our watch. We all feel the sense of urgency to shelter our families from the storm, but you also deserve more from your leaders than just defense. And we have plenty more to do to deliver security, opportunity, and freedom to every Minnesotan. So let me give me a chance at another term, and here's some of my top priorities. First and foremost, we need to get serious about gun violence once and for all. Once and for all. We've seen it over the last few months, right here and everywhere across this country, and it is sickening. Every shooting is different, but there's one thing that they all have in common. Someone who shouldn't have had a gun had one, and it was too damn easy to get the gun. We've made important strides, and to the legislators who are here, thank you. We've expanded background checks. We've added red flag laws, and we've funded mental health care. But it's not even close enough. And I want to be clear. When a Republican legislator says this isn't about guns, we need to fund mental health care, those same people voted against mental health care when they had the opportunity to do it. So that is not the thing. They will talk about anything except what's at the heart of this matter, that it should not be possible in this country to fire 116 bullets in 90 seconds into the bodies of children. So as your governor, you have my pledge. I'm going to use every power I have in this office to figure out how we stop this bloodshed. But I want to be clear. I want to be clear and not give false hope. It's going to be hard. Because here's what I need right now. I need a couple brave Republicans to join us. I have to believe there's a few courageous folks out there who truly in their heart at night, when they think about it, know that these weapons of war have to be off our streets and out of our schools now. And what's been at the heart of this state since almost its founding and has been a commitment of our administration is education is at the heart of everything we do. To all the teachers in the House tonight, thank you. You know the story. I was a teacher and a proud card-carrying member of Education Minnesota. And I'll tell you what, you brag about the things that you've done in your life that make you tougher. You've heard me say this, and I'm proud of it. I'm still standing after nearly 2 decades in the lunchroom, so I'm there. But look, a good public education is one of the bedrock promises of this country. Here in Minnesota, we've worked to honor that promise. We invested real resources, historic resources in our public schools. We gave our teachers a well-deserved raise and upped their retirement pay. We fed our children and made college free. And this year we saw graduation rates the highest they have ever been. Well, once again, we've got an education secretary that knows more about wrestling than reading. So while she's busy pile driving the Department of Education, we're going to keep stepping up and delivering for every single student in every school across Minnesota. And if you doubt that, I'll use my line, and all those teachers are here. Never, ever underestimate those public school teachers. They continue to deliver. We've also got to stand up more for working folks in this state. The people who raise our crops, the people who plow our roads, the people who weld our steel. Trump has all but abandoned working class folks. His tariffs are only sending costs in one direction, up. Meanwhile, Minnesota farmers are trying to export their crops and they're getting crushed as other countries rightfully retaliate. Well, there's a reason that we call ourselves the Democratic Farmer Labor Party. And the main reason we do that is we know who our bosses are. So we're going to make it easier for middle-class folks to make sure that life is affordable for them. It means making it more affordable to buy a home in every zip code. From making housing more affordable in our cities to building more homes in rural communities across this state. And we're gonna bring down the cost of childcare once and for all. That's real relief in people's lives, things that make them feel more secure. And it's how we keep this state being the best place in the country to raise a child. Now, you can call me old-fashioned, but I believe in governing like good neighbors is not just what Minnesotans want from us, it's what they demand from us. Because you've heard me say this, and I know that you believe in it like I do. We are one Minnesota. If a kid in St. Paul is distracted in class because they didn't get enough to eat, that child's learning doesn't just hurt them, it hurts all of us. Doesn't matter if it's our son or not. If Social Security is undermined and payments are missed to a widow in Mankato, that's a tragedy for all of us, not just my mom or yours. If a family in Rochester can't afford their mortgage or their car payment, or a grocery run to Hy-Vee or Cub, we're all worse off for it. And if someone can be killed in cold blood for their political beliefs, even if we disagree with those beliefs, we're all less safe. Political violence is a virus, one that recognizes no border and no party preference. It's never, ever acceptable. So we all have to condemn it. And we have to get back to seeing each other as neighbors and not nemesis. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not naive. That's not going to be easy. It means we have to actually listen to each other, extend a hand to one another, and yeah, get off social media and go touch the grass once in a while. But it's the only way this country's going to work. Now, I want to be clear on one point. Respecting our neighbors is not the same as appeasing our neighbors. We can and should continue to disagree and debate, to hold our ground when we know the policies are destructive, and to keep telling the unvarnished truth about what's going on in this country right now. So you have my promise. As long as I'm governor, we're going to continue to keep calling out the cruelty and corruption that's coming out of this administration and keep it at our borders. As long as I'm governor, we'll keep working like hell to bring industries of the future right here, creating jobs that can support your families right here, and to bring down the cost of building a good life right here in Minnesota. And as long as I'm governor, you're going to be free to protect your kids from deadly diseases. You're going to be free to be who you are and love whoever you want. And as long as I'm governor, you'll make the decisions about your own body and no one else. I tried to teach the rest of the country it's not that hard. It's relatively simple. It's the golden rule. Mind your own damn business and we'll all get along better. We'll all get along better. That's what it means to be a good neighbor. That's how we'll secure the next century of Minnesota greatness. That's how we'll continue to be the envy of this nation. And next November, we're ready to make a powerful statement. Come hell or high water, Minnesota will remain a bulwark of security, opportunity, and freedom for every single person. I know you know it, folks, but One Minnesota has always been more than a slogan. It's a rallying cry, one that has echoed across Minnesota for ages. When St. Paul railroad workers went on strike back in the 1890s, our forebears locked arms with our brothers and made sure they were fed. And when the federal troops came in to crack down on that, solidarity held in St. Paul and we didn't yield. At the turn of the century, families all across greater Minnesota wanted to make sure their kids could get as good of education as anyone in a city. So folks from all different backgrounds banded together and we built one-room schoolhouses in every corner of this state and had quality education for every child. When a blizzard roared across this state in the 1940s, it was the farmers who pulled people out, and it was folks in the city that took people in. We help our stranded neighbors. We open the doors to the cold. And together, we literally dug ourselves out and picked ourselves back up. Minnesotans understand this in countless stories. It's part of our DNA to be good neighbors. And if we're going to get our country out of this mess, we're going to have to do it with our leadership right here in Minnesota, because we can guide the way. It's a pretty big responsibility. We can't afford to cede this. Not now, not ever. And that's why I'm running for re-election. That's why. That's why I'm asking you. I need each and every one of you on this team. I'm not just asking for your vote, though of course I'd be honored to earn it. Voting's simply not enough this time. We need to take the energy we feel right now that's bottled up in here, and we need to take it to every corner of our state. We need to knock on the doors. We need to make the calls. We need to connect with persuadable voters in our own lives. And if you could spare some bucks, we would certainly be grateful for that too, because we're taking this to every corner of the state. That's our game plan to win this thing. I know we can. I know we will. I know we need to. I told you already, I'm an eternal optimist. But I've watched what you've done here. I've watched our states done. I've watched us invent. I've watched us innovate. I've watched us show kindness. I've watched us laugh together. I've watched ourselves pick ourselves up and continue to move forward. I'm not just blinded by hope, people. We know what's possible when we come together, because you see it every day with your own eyes. Every single day you see acts of kindness, acts of decency, acts of bringing us together, acts of shared humanity. So here's the deal, Minnesota. We got a little less than 14 months, and we've got unfinished business. So now seems as good a time as any. Let's get after it and win this thing. Let's go.